True Warrior Football. True Warrior Football. True Warrior Football.
You are listening to True Warrior Football Podcast with your host, Corey Kid Smith.
Welcome back. Welcome back, folks. You know, I was in the middle of doing last week's episode, was processing it and everything, or I say last week's, well, working on the prior show that we just put out. And as I'm working on it, I'm seeing something online. IndyStar. Kyle Needham he posted on his Twitter, and, you know, MIC's 25-year anniversary list. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Very interesting that they did that. All the sports, you know, girls basketball, boys basketball, track and field sports, football, of course, swimming, cross country events. A lot of sports, you know. And really, I had to talk about this. So that's what we're going to do today. That is what I'm going to do today. Bonus, hey, you haven't got much from me in the last 2 months, so you're going to get me twice in 1 week. Congratulations. Your boy's back. So, you know, first, I look at the list, and before I get to the real meat and potatoes of what we're all here for, let me, you know, give the people that really did some great things in our program and get them their shine, because they're deserving. Really, everybody that made this list, whether or not they went to Warren, is very deserving of being on this list. I'm sure many of the names in the other sports I did not know, but the ones that I did, let me start with, you know, our girls. All right, girls track and field team. And, you know, they also listed the top coaches for the various, you know, sports as well. So for girls track and field, we had our very own James Taylor and LaGreta Smith. Both of them have been, oh man, I think they account for 5 titles, 5 girls in track and field state titles over the last less than 20 years, really, going back to when I was in the program. I say in the program, but in school. So congrats to Coach Taylor and Coach Smith. Very deserving, very deserving. And, you know, the girls team has put out some amazing athletes over the years. Shout out to my family, Promise Hoosier. I knew she was going to make it before I even got to this. I was like, I know Promise is going to be on there. One of the greatest long jumpers in state history. So, of course, she's going to be on there. But look at the names of these. A lot of these girls, I think I've known just about all of them. Caitlin Redmond, I'm not too familiar with, but congrats to her. She made the list. Keisha Talley, my girl, doing some great things at Purdue right now. Ebony Wright. Ebony Wright had wheels, okay? Logan Hayes, also wheels. Kaylin Jackson, a phenomenal track athlete. Did some all-around great things for the program. Brianna Birdsong, congrats to her. Mykesha Covington, Mykesha Covington, Brianna Cunningham, Montika Flowers, Takoria Humphrey, and Lorian Price. All right, Lorian Price, legendary track and field athlete. Shot put, I believe, was her, and discus. I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody's going to correct me out there, but phenomenal athlete. Is the sister of legendary Warren football player Chris Price. So congrats to all these girls right here, man. 13 Warren ladies made the list. Congrats to them as well. Once again, I should say. Moving on All right, let's go to the boys track and field. All right, let's go to the boys track and field, and right off the top, all right, my guy, Chris Harley. Big shout out for Chris, state champ, shot put, just incredible. And the crazy thing is, he did that. I think that was 2010, and that's still the state record, or still the school record, I should say. And just, incredible athlete. Congrats to him. He just recently got married. Congrats to him and his wife. My man, Joey Hodges as well. And Joey Hodges was a phenomenal football player. Even better on the track. Just tore it up. Won a couple state championships with the boys team our junior and senior year. So congrats to him. Devin Pipkin. Man, Devin Pipkin is lightning fast, okay? Lightning fast back in his day. Did some great things. DeJuan Richardson, congrats to him as well. Some distance guys, him and Deshaun Turner made the list. Derek Spite, congrats to him. Another football guy. Matter of fact, I'm looking here. I look at this list. It's really, we have 7 guys from Warren on the list, made track and field team, phenomenal athletes. But I had to include one guy because even though he played for Lawrence North, Brandon Pounds is more of an honorable warrior now. So I had to include him on the list. Congrats, Pounds. I know you did a lot of great things over there for the Wildcats back in your day. Tremendous track and field athlete, Hall of Famer. Congrats to you, man. I know you're doing some great things out there, dog. It was very good to see you when I saw you there. So let's see here. Back to track and field. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the guys. 4 of the 7 guys. All right. On the track and field list, football players. All right. Like I said, if you want to be great, if at least compete with other great athletes, make yourself better in the off season, do another sport. All right. Go out there, run track, play football, wrestle. Okay, do some other things to keep your body going. I know you want to, do a lot of 7-on-7, do some other sports. I understand that, all right? Not do other sports. I understand that. But you know what? When you're looking at some of these greats right here on this list, I mean, Chris Harley, all-time great. Okay? So here's what it is. Wrestling, all right? Huge. People sleep on our wrestling program, man. People sleep on our wrestling program, and it's just really, really unfortunate. We've had 3 really good wrestling coaches, really 4 now. Just shout out to my man Kyrell Lavelle. I believe I said that right. Just recently won state, 120 pounds. Congrats to him. But, I'm looking at this list, 7 guys made the MIC 25 team. My man John Lloyd, Matt McKinney, Trent Pruitt, Danny Williams, Coach Williams, shout out to Coach Williams out there, DeAndre Wilson, Brandon Wright, and of course, one of the all-time greats when you talk about greats that wrestled and played football, Catrell Moss goes right to the top. State champ, just dominant. On the field, off the field, on the wrestling mats, he did great things. And you see what he did when he went to continue his career in Indiana State, one of their all-time greatest there, top 5, I believe, in all-time tackles at the program. Phenomenal athlete, just phenomenal. And congrats to those 7 guys. Girls basketball, we have just two, Shayla Beeler and Kasia Talley. Kasia Talley, also one of the girls that made it for track, so congrats to her for being on the list twice. And now, we got boys basketball. We aren't necessarily a basketball school, even though we have had some great athletes. Just one state title, though. That state title, 32-0, number 2 in the nation. One of the all-time greatest victories in Indiana State football, Indiana State basketball history. If we only get 1 year, I'm fine with that. So making the list David Bell and Dean Tate from that state championship team, very appropriate. Dean Tate, Indiana All-Star. David Bell, don't need to say anymore. And Devin Davis, who went on to IU, then had a very good career after he transferred, went to University of Houston. I want to say he was on a JUCO team that won a national championship in between those two stops. But Devin Davis was phenomenal as well, another Indiana All-Star. And, yeah, those three right there, three of the best Warren players, I think, of the last 25 years. I'm surprised Walter Offutt didn't make it, but Walter Offutt had a lot of injuries in his career. He was able to do some things. Went to Ohio State, ended up at Ohio with the Bobcats, doing some great things right now in the coaching ranks. So congrats to him. So yeah, those are those guys. Had to give props to the people that made our whole school athletic program really great. But this is true Warrior football, not true Warrior all other sports. All right. No offense to everybody, but you guys come here for the football talk. And I got some talk for you today. Last 25 years, very, very special time in our program. Really last 20 years. Last 20 years, very special time in our program. And I think back to all the great players that we have. Like, oh, man, they really kept it to 50 players on the list from just about all schools we had the most with 15. Center Grove had second with 13. Those guys over there on the west side only had 10. Carmel surprisingly only had 6. I thought they would have had just a little bit more. And let me see here. LC had 1. North Central had 3, which was surprising. But here's what it is. Look, the one guy, hold on, before I get into it, let's run through all the guys on all this first, all right? Now, for those of you who've been following the program for long enough, 2 years, almost 3 years ago, I did it was 2019, so 3 years ago, I did the top 50 list. And people called me a madman. Kid, how could you do that? Why would you even put yourself out there like that? Why would you go and just put all that scrutiny out there, controversy for yourself? Well, one, I knew I could do it. I put out a great list, had a lot of great thought into that list. And you know what's really crazy? When it comes down to it, of my top 10 players, okay, and I got it right here, top 10 players that made my team, or of the top 10 players, all right, on my list, 9 of them were eligible. The only one that wasn't eligible was quarterback Jeff George, who played in a time when we weren't in the MIC. There wasn't a MIC to begin with, so it is what it is. So of those 9 that remaining, I had 8. Okay? 8 of my top 10 made the list. And let me go through the list here. Fully. The 15 players that we had, Chris Harley, once again, made it football and track. David Bell, football, basketball. Chris Graham, brick, legendary. If he didn't make it, the list doesn't count. Sheldon Day, once again, if he doesn't make it, the list doesn't count. Tim Kimbrough, doesn't count. Jeremy Finch, if Jeremy Finch wasn't on this list, whoever was responsible for putting out this list should be fired immediately if Jeremy Finch wasn't on this list. Y'all already know how I feel about Jeremy Finch. All right. One of the all-time greatest football players, not just in school history, the last 25, 30 years. Okay. I've said this many times. He's that. Change the game. But thankfully, I don't have to go off because he's on the list. McNulty Williams, phenomenal on the list. My man, one of the all-time great leaders in program history, a leader for our team my senior year in 2005, Jason Ayi-Buwagu, probably the greatest offensive lineman center in state history. I'll argue that to the rest of my years. Definitely, at this point in time, the best in conference history. Nobody did it better. All right? Nobody did it better. So, J.O. on the list. Dexter Taylor, Desmond Tardy, two of the most electric quarterbacks in program history. I mean, you saw what Desmond did, and people still want to talk about Desmond's 2003 state championship game for the rest of his life. All right? Dexter Taylor, 2,000 yards rushing in a season, Mr. Football, back-to-back state champ, led the team to back-to-back state championship titles, okay? Had, 8 total touchdowns in 2 state championship games, three rushing and 1 passing in each game, okay? One of the most prolific scorers in our program's history. Just, the guy was a winner, absolute best. On the last guy in the MIC to lead his team until this past year, the last guy to lead his team to back-to-back state championship titles in the MIC, Dexter Taylor, last quarterback. Let's see here. Shakir Bell, the first guy in MIC history to rush for 3,000 yards. I call him Mr. 3,000. Very appropriate that he made the list. Justin Berrio, I'm glad to see somebody put him on here. He, like I said before, a guy that late 90s, early 2000s, was an all-around phenomenal player, safety for us, did some great things. Another guy was on the top 50 list. And then let's see here. We talked about him. Oh, yeah, Darren Evans. Duh. Look, there's one thing I know. Darren Evans is for sure the greatest running back in state history. He was that way while he was still playing. Since he's been gone, since his last season 15 years ago, he is still the best. What he did, look at his highlights. What he did, nobody's ever been able to do. And we're going to talk about the other running backs and other guys who make the list. No. So, all right, so that's those guys. Oh. I left off one name. Dijon Anderson. And Mike Clevenger. Can't forget about Mike Clevenger. First Mr. Football winner in program history. Offensive lineman. Really was a part of the class that really set up everything that we went on to. So glad to see him get the recognition he deserves right here. But Dijon Anderson, once again, I was surprised. Honestly surprised. I'm not upset, though. Because here's why. Dijon, for his time, was truly wonderful. Truly wonderful. First defensive, conference defensive player of the year in our program's history since they started handing out that award. His untimely passing is just such an unfortunate thing. It really is, and I'm glad to see him get the respect that he truly deserves by being on this list with the rest of these great guys. I mean, I had him on my top 50 list as well, and I thought that was very appropriate. But to have him on the list with these guys right here, truly incredible. So that's that. But then I get to looking at the list, and like I said, of the top 10 guys that I had on my list, Jeremy Finch was 1, Darren Evans was 2, David Bell was 4, Dexter Taylor was 5, Desmond Tardy was 6, Chris Graham was 7. I want to say Sheldon Day was 8. Yeah, Sheldon Day was 8. J.O. Nope. J.O. was 8. Sheldon was 9. And then my guy at number 10, Jewel Hampton, rounded out. Now think about it. It's like, man, of all the guys to be great running backs in the conference, Jewel Hampton didn't make the list? What? I had to look through this. I'm looking at Ben Davis guys, Chris Evans. Yeah, Chris Evans was good. He wasn't Jewel. He wasn't Jewel. Wasn't Jewel. Yeah, nobody really jumps off the list at me here. Like, and then here's another thing that really, really surprised me once I looked over the list. Because I looked at, like a Carson Steele, good back, very good back. Let's take Center Grove to their first title of their back-to-back years. Very good, very deserving. But then I'm looking like Ramir Elliott. Ramir Elliott's not on the list here? What? Ramir Elliott. Seriously. The guy was only Mr. Football, running back Mr. Football. All right. Rushed over 3,000 yards, set the conference rushing record. Perfect season. What do he have? 3 touchdowns in the state championship game. I think he had over 200 yards total in that game. Matter of fact, he's a conference record holder for yards total in a season. One person, 3,600 yards total. Rushing, receiving. He's not. Darius Latham makes it on the list over him? Darius Latham. He was a good player for North Central. He ain't. Granted, they play different positions. Okay, I get it. Darius Latham was a defensive lineman. Shakir. Ramir Elliott was a running back. I get it. But come on, man. Really? No. Not at all. Not at all. Richard L., phenomenal player. He's deserving. Of course, J.B. Paxton, I've talked about him before, deserving. Off of his one game that he beat Warren in 2004 is good enough for him to be on here. James Banks goes without saying. If he wasn't on the list, this list doesn't matter. Morgan Newton on the list. Jordan Llewellyn on the list. Kyle Castro, Reese Taylor on the list. Ted and Doss. Okay. But I don't know. And this is my problem with, awards a lot of times being handled. Like, what's your criteria? What does a guy have to do to be deserving of these honors? Like, truly, what does he have to do? You say, oh, well, he didn't play against top talent. What? Are you crazy? Ramir Elliott in 2018 season, okay, against Center Grove, Ben Davis, and Carmel had like 1,500 rushing yards in just a regular season. And then in the postseason, another 1,000? What are we doing? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? Who's making this list? Is there a grudge out there? Oh, we can't have too many Warren guys. We can't put all 30, 40 Warren guys when you got to fill it up with 50. Like I said, sometimes I feel like they cheat our kids. These guys earned it. And let me just say, all the guys on the list that made it are deserving. In the end, they are deserving. But I know of other players that are just as deserving of being on this list as they were. All right? Just as deserving. My man, Andre Hatchett, should have been on the list. Okay? Who else can I think? Nick Temple should have been on the list. Nick Temple definitely should have been on the list. But it is funny, though. Josh Bailey should have been on the list. Josh Bailey should have been on this list. Josh Bailey just about single-handedly won a state championship with his play in the postseason in 2004. Definitely should have been on this list. But, like I said, it's real funny when all 15 of the Warren guys that made this anniversary list, all 15 were on my list. All 15 were a part of the top 50 when I put it out. People say I was crazy. People say I couldn't do it. I don't know. I guess especially when my top 10 is so, get 8 out of 9 as possible. But, oh well, I wonder what the next 25 is going to handle. That is what I really am intrigued by. Because I look at what the NBA did this past All-Star season, or All-Star weekend. They had their top 75. They brought out the 75, 76 greatest, 76, the ones that were still living, that is. They brought out all the great players that were able to come and be there, and it was a really cool thing. And I just wonder, in the end, when they do a 100-year anniversary for the NBA, how many players from the era we're watching right now will be there? And just like now, we have this 25 list. When we do a 50-year, hopefully I'm still able to do a show to talk about it. But I wonder how many of our guys are going to be on that list, How many greats will fill out this list? Can't wait to see it. I love it. Very excited for our guys, though. Very excited. We're doing some great things. I'm telling you, it's a special time in Warren. It's a special time to be a Warrior, really. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even introduce myself. First of all, if you're watching me, y'all need to introduce. Y'all turn on. Oh, my man Kid on. All right, let's get your popcorn ready. All right. But, hey, I'm your host, Corey the Kid Smith. This is to another great episode of True Warrior Football. And as always, we didn't do this last week, but as always, Warrior Band, take us away. All right. So I did all that, talked about all these great guys that made the MIC list, but I made two huge omissions. And you know what? It would be disastrous for me to not come back out here and correct it. And I had to admit my mistakes. Because these two individuals right here, quite possibly two of the best people I've had the opportunity to be around. And just when it comes to our program, and I'm talking about our athletic program as a whole, the history of our program as a whole, two of the best. Absolutely flat out two of the best. Came around, you know what? Some would say one of these coaches is the best coach in all of Warren High School history. Others would say the other guy is the best coach in all of Warren history. I honestly don't know how I would put it for the two. The impact, though, that these two individuals have is beyond measure. And the first person I'm going to talk about, I think, has such a long-lasting legacy in our program overall. And just, it was a huge mistake by me not mentioning that this gentleman and that person is Dennis McNulty. All right. Mac, as he's so affectionately well known by everybody he's coached, been around, coached with, just one of the literally all-time greats, all right? And I had to go back and actually bring it for Mac because I had to do right by him. Because Mac, working with him in the building up until he retired, and he's doing so many great things. He and his wife now. Really, I wish I was retired and traveling the country just like he is now. But he blows my mind on how great a person he truly is. Outstanding coach, even better teacher, much better person personally. If you know him, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Came to the program in 1987, all right? And from there, he really started developing our boys track team into the powerhouse it would be. And now it's not necessarily that. We've had some success, but when it was under Mac, when it was under Coach McNulty, all right, look, okay, this guy, 16 times in all of his years as a coach, leading the boys track team, 16 times they finished in the top 10, all right? 4-time, okay? 4-time state champion, okay? Runner-up 2 other times as well. Just an incredible coach for our program. I want to say he's won more state championships as a head coach, team overall state championships as a head coach than any other coach in our program in any sport. So let me go back, talk about his accolades, okay? Indiana Association of Track and Cross Country Coaches, IATCCC, Coach of the Year 4 times, another foe. Semifinalist for the award, National High School Federation Coach of the Year in 2007, all right? Just incredible. Won the school's very first state championship in track in 96 or 95, then repeated in 96, okay? 10 years later, 2006, my senior year, after runner-up year in 2005, won it all. It's like, yeah, we're going to come back. We're going to do it all over again in 2007, all right? Back to back. But we're not talking about Drake. No, we're not talking about Drake. Just phenomenal, all right? Coach well over a dozen high school All-Americans, one of 11 men in state history to win 4 or more state titles. Just incredible. In 2006, okay, his 2006 state championship team set a school record for 74 points at the state meet. If you know track and field, then you would know that is a lot of points at a single state meet. Because at state meet, it's the best of the best. So sometimes, you can come out there and you can win state with maybe 50 points, maybe. But to get 70, 74, I think that's still like third best all time. Woo. All right. His 96 team set a school record by winning by 37 points. Third best all time. All right. He is a 3-time Hall of Fame inductee. He's in the Warren Athletic Hall of Fame. He is also a member of the University of Indianapolis, UIndy Athletic Hall of Fame. And he's also a member of the IATCC Hall of Fame as well. A true gentleman, just a class of the sport. Like, literally, you cannot say, you can't talk about track and field, not just in our program, but the state of Indiana in its entirety, and not talk about Dennis McNulty. The man wrote a book about Indiana track and field. He wrote the book Indiana's Best, all right? Or really it's a publication, so magazine, but you get what I'm saying, all right? It's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right. And I look here more accolades. Coach, at the time that this was written, it's about 2009, 2010-ish, had coached 5 IHSAA relay state championship teams, another 2 runner-ups, over 165 members of his team have been all-state. Okay, that's incredible. 22 Indiana All-Stars to go along with that. Like, the man is an absolute legend. Was the Indiana All-Star track and field team head coach in 2007. Then on top of all that, he was an assistant coach for Coach Brooks when we won 2 state championships in 2005 and 2006. Okay? The man is a literal legend. And one of the best things I've ever seen Coach McNulty do didn't have anything to do with being on the track and field. Didn't have anything to do with that at all. It was him giving the eulogy for his friend, our friend, the beloved Larry Willen. Coach McNulty gave an absolute beautiful eulogy for a dear friend of his. And it was truly one of the best things I had heard anybody saying. If you weren't there, you missed out on it. So, Coach Mac, congrats to you on making the MIC 25 list. One of the all-time greatest track and field coaches out there. One of the best people I know. Congrats to you. Sorry for the mistake of leaving you off. Trust me, it was a slight that I'm happy to make up for. And now, the next coach. The man that, if it weren't for him, I'm not doing this. If it weren't for him, I'm not wearing the W. I don't have the rings. I don't have any of that. Because this man saved our program. Well, no, it was beyond saving when I hate saying that, beyond saving. But, it just wasn't what it was. It wasn't what it ended up being. What we see today is nothing compared to what Coach Kevin Wright came into the program with. Nothing. He literally changed the game. Coach Wright being hired at Warren when he did changed the landscape of Indiana high school football forever. Nobody can deny that. In his last 4 years in the program, from 2002 to 2005, my senior year, so 02, 03, 04, and 05. All right. This is all without notes. These are all McNulty notes. I don't even need these. Those 4 years, okay, lost 5 games. And we won, let's see, about 60. About 60 games we won. Let's see, 13, 12, that's 25 plus 28, and a little over, it's about 50, okay? Went to public school, all right? Don't worry about my math. One of the all-time great coaches in Indiana high school history, all right? I talked about it with him 2-3 years ago almost now. And it's just really incredible to look back on it now, of what he was able to do for our program, what he was able to do for so many men within our program. He brought an offense that changed the landscape, that people are still talking about to this day, that set records to this day that may never be broken. all right, brought in a legendary coach like Coach Tutsi that took what our program already had and took it to the next level, okay? Brought in other great coaches like Coach Burton, Coach Roman, Coach Crum, brought Coach Massey back into the fray, okay? Brought a level of swagger and respect back to the East Side that the program had greatly missed. When I think of the worn teams of my freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior years, I think of the absolute best time possible. On a Friday night, you already knew where you were going to see everybody. They were going to be at the game, regardless if it was home or away. North Central, all right, we'll be there. Ben Davis, of course. Center Grove, duh. We took buses to Terre Haute, okay? We already knew we were going to win. We just wanted to see how many points we were going to win by. Buses to Terre Haute. Think about that now, okay? Terre Haute. Hour and a half away. 3-4 fan buses loaded up with people. People that didn't ride the fan bus, well, they drove. Took like 10 buses down to Ryle, Kentucky when we faced Cincinnati Elder. The level of excitement that Coach Wright had in our program during that run was unprecedented. Unprecedented. So much so that it's become a thing of myth that anybody would ever come close to winning 3 state championships again like he did. He really should have won 4 straight before he left. We should have had a 5-peat. I've talked about that several times. Talked about that with him. Talked about that with Clayton. It's what we accomplished is so great. It's so unheard of. It's untouchable. Those players back then, and it's something great. I wish these players today would aspire to do and overcome, and maybe one day players within our program will overcome that. I've already talked about how special our upcoming class of incoming freshmen, how special our freshmen are, how special I believe our seniors are, our juniors are, our guys that are going to be juniors and seniors. I already know how special those guys are. I don't know if they're that level of special just yet. I hope. But if we are able to be a multi-time state champion in the future, you know, those guys would have the opportunity to look back on and say, hey, the program that we came into was built on legends, guys that Coach Wright coached. And because of Coach Wright, inspired us to be legends as well. Like, I can talk about, I mean, you're seeing the video right here. I mean, all that. It's just nothing compares. Nothing compares. There have been some great teams. Great Warren teams. The 2018 team, great. All right. Talk about other great teams in the MIC. You know, the Ben Davises that won in 2017, 2014. Center Grove, they just had 2 phenomenal teams themselves. But they weren't that. They weren't that. All right? They didn't have a Dexter Taylor, a Desmond Tardy, or a Darren Evans. They didn't have that. They didn't have Jeremy Finch. They didn't have Brick. They didn't have J.O. They didn't have Courtney Nunn, Jay Stu, Paul Washington, Joey Hodges, Andre Hatchett, Andre Nicholson. Jacob McLaurin, Brian Beeler, they didn't have those guys. Those guys only come around every once in a blue moon, and when you get those guys once in a blue moon, it's something special. But to make it truly something special, you need a great leader behind that to get all those personalities, get all those people together in one and make it special. And that's what Coach Wright did. That's the reason why I revere this man so much. And I just absolutely cannot believe I named all those Warren football players before. I named all of our guys before here. And I knew when I looked on the list that his name was there. And then I completely didn't put it in. I don't know. I guess in my mind I was like, okay, yeah, we're going to bring in Coach Wright at the end there. Nothing. And so, I don't know, getting better at this. So I apologize, Coach Wright, for leaving you off initially. But, hey, better late than never, all right? What you've done for me, personally for me, getting me to college, putting me on TV with you, making a guy that didn't have an athletic bone in his body feel as special as the guy that's, All-American, an All-State player, making me feel just as special and as important to the team as those guys. I'll never be able to repay you, but I'll do my best every chance I can to tell you thank you. Oh, man. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Corey the Kid Smith. You just listened to another great episode of True Warrior Football. And now, Warrior Band, take us away.
Here at Warren Central High School, it means too much to me to go out with this group of seniors because this is the guys I started with. And that's why I'm pushing you as hard as I can push you because I know the highs, I know the lows, I know what you're capable of. And I want to stop reading about the team that's supposed to be so good. I want to see it tonight.
The Warriors by 3 touchdowns.
Last year we beat them for the first time in 13 games. This year we were able to come over on their field. Very hotly contested battle. Probably a lot closer than what the score indicated. But it's great to get a W and move on to the next week 3-0. A lot of people are dependent on you to step up and carry on the tradition and get it done. So this is the night you get a chance to redeem yourself right off the bat. Normally it takes a while to get another opportunity. Boom, we got another big opportunity right here on TV going out to across the state, okay, with the game of the week. So make sure you understand from the get-go, 4 quarters, play the whistle, stay together, and we'll win. Now, great focus in pregame. Great focus. It was the focus of a champion. And you got to understand one thing. Yes, they've got a good ball club. But no, they haven't played a big-time game. They have not played a big-time game. You guys are seniors. How many sectional championships have you played in? 3. How many regionals have you played in? 3. How many times have we gone on the road and played state champions this year? Twice. Think about that. Bottom line is this. They should be the team that's tight. We just let it all hang out. Let it all hang out. No. Let it all hang out. Sir. Have a good time. Let it all hang out. Sir. But take it out on them. Take it out on them. Offensive line, we got the ball first. We got the ball first. They can play from behind the whole game. You dictate the game. They said, what's one of the keys to the game? I said, our offensive line dictating the game. Our offensive line dictating the game to them. Not their offensive line dictating the game to us. It's time to come out here. They always say this, guys. Championship teams are teams that are able to go through adversity, hit it head on, and succeed. And when he talks about them having the passion, I thought about our team and the fact that we have to go out tonight, we have to go out next Saturday night, and we have to go out and prove to the world the great passion that we have for this game, for each other, for this team, and that we are champions. But as I started to think about it, and I started thinking about playing with passion and what makes people play with passion, And I started thinking about individual names. I started thinking about that there are guys in this room that are already champions because you have gone through things that those guys in that other locker room haven't even thought about going through. There are guys in this room that have lost a parent. There are guys in this room that have lost 2 parents. There are guys in this room from split families. There are guys in this room that live with uncles. There are guys in this room that don't really have anybody that wants them to stay with them. There are people in this room that give everything they've got on a daily basis to be a part of this when you could quit. Most of those guys, they got a passion because they've worked hard. The passion you should play with tonight is a passion that you should have because some of you get yourselves up every day on your own because mom's not there. Or some of you go home and you got to watch your brother or your sister because dad's not there. Or some of you got to work so you got money to buy things. They don't go through that. Maybe some of them, but not everybody. And I could go right down the starting lineup. I go not in the starting lineup, I go to the second group, and every single guy I guarantee would fit in some slot. We have very few people that live the ideal life that they have. But I'm going to tell you what, that's what should make this that much more special. That's what should make this that much more special. Because you are a champion. You are a champion. To come off a suspension, a 5-game suspension, and come back. To lose a brother and keep going. To not get to play a lot and come every single day. To lose a father. To not have a great home life. To go through a tornado. I went to Autumn Woods last year. I was trying to find our guys. I went to the shelter. I know what it's like. I never lived there, but I know what it's like. That's the best passion. Mark Bonds, you know what your mom's not. You get yourself up every day by yourself. That's passion. How many of you come from split homes? Raise your hand. That's passion. The only way, though, in our society that people get to know the good things about you are by what they read, what they see, what you show them. Tonight, I'm going to coach with great passion. I want you to play with great passion. I want you to play with more than great passion. I want you to play a perfect game. I want you to play it one play at a time. But you can't tell me that they're going to play with more passion than us. You can't tell me that. We've gone through too much together. I'm going to tell you what. The team that's the most physical will win the game. The team that's the most physical will win the game. They lift weights, but so do we. I've waited years and years for this, guys. This is for a ring. This is for a ring. The winner of this game, is going to get a ring. Not necessarily a blue one, but the winner of this game will get a ring. You get yours. Tonight, you get yours. You get your ring. Next week, you get your blue ring. Remember what this is about. It's about a football game. It's like any other game. It's about beating the opponent into physical submission and winning the game. I came down last after you guys had gone by. They're laughing at you. 17, sophomore linebacker was laughing. 21, sophomore free safety is laughing. They're laughing. All that wild bunch stuff. You know, I don't know if they think they're playing a bunch of people from the inner city. I don't know if they got confident because Snyder rolled over last week. I don't know what. But that's embarrassing to me. Hey, I try, every coach I saw, I try to say good luck to him. Half of them wouldn't even look at me. Same crap as Elder. That's fine. I didn't come here to enjoy the atmosphere. I came here to kick your tail. I came here to win a state championship. Yes, sir. But don't forget why you're here. And don't forget that the most physical team that makes the least turnovers always wins the game. Coaches don't want to shake our hands, that's fine. I don't care. Like I said, I came here for one reason only. We're going to win. We're going to win with class. We're going to play hard every game, every play. But I tell you what, after this game is over, they're going to be hit. They're going to be hit, and they're going to know they're in a game. And the next time they play us, whether it's next year or the year after that, I guarantee they won't have those smirks when they walk down the hallway. I guarantee they won't have that chip on their shoulder just because they're riding some other team's state championship. They didn't. Nobody in that locker room has won a state championship. We're all the same. We are all the same. It's just a matter of going out and taking it. But again, make no mistake about it, this is a football game. It's not a sideshow, it's a football game. And I'll know on that first kickoff, I'll know on that first defensive series, I'll know on that first offensive series where our head's at. For you, the school, the community, you got an opportunity to do something that nobody else can do. And that's create a whole image that we live and go to a school and are champions. You understand that? After tonight, everybody's gonna pick up that. They're gonna pick up that paper tomorrow, and they're gonna see Warren Central. And they're really gonna think of champions for second place. Nobody remembers second place. And I'll tell you what, you will be the pride of this community for years to come. And you are a better team.
You know, I really thought that this was probably potentially the best team that we've had, just because of the number of seniors that we had coming back, the experience, the fact that we got so close last year, really the last couple years. But I guess probably, going back to that regional game against Ben Davis, I don't think we could have played any harder. And just to lose something that heartbreaking, I felt like probably gave us some motivation going into the off season. And it was an exciting feeling getting ready to start the season. We knew that we had something special, but you just never know how that actually is going to turn out until you kick off the very first game. So, I didn't know until that Perry Meridian game that, what we really had, and it took about a half to know that we might have something special.